Dreams are not just fleeting images. They're the subconscious mind's most potent language, a dialect of metaphor and meaning that bypasses the linear constraints of waking thought. To understand why certain symbols recur in our dreams and why they carry such transformative weight, we must first explore the core themes that underpin this nocturnal dialogue. These are not mere abstract ideas. They're the pillars upon which the soul's messages are built, the hidden frameworks that give dreams their power to awaken, warn, and guide. The soul's urgent whispers. Why symbols appear when they do. There is a timing to these visions, a synchronicity that defies randomness. When a symbol surfaces in your dreams with insistence, it is not by accident. It is because your psyche is at a threshold. The soul communicates through symbols when the conscious mind is either too distracted or too resistant to receive the message directly. Think of it as a teacher who, when faced with a student unwilling to listen, begins to write on the walls, carve into desks, whisper through the wind, anything to break through the noise. Consider the recurring dream of falling, a sensation so visceral that it often jolts the dreamer awake. On the surface, it may seem like a simple anxiety reflex, but esoteric traditions reveal a deeper truth. The fall is an initiation. In alchemy, the descent is necessary before the ascent. In shamanic journeys, the practitioner must die in the dream to access higher realms. Your soul may be signaling that you are on the precipice of a major life shift, one that requires surrender before elevation. The symbol does not appear to frighten you, but to prepare you. The collective unconscious, where personal and universal meet. Carl Jung proposed that beneath our personal subconscious lies a vast, shared reservoir of archetypes, the collective unconscious. This is why people across cultures, eras, and individual experiences dream of similar figures. The wise old man, the shadowy pursuer, the labyrinth, the great flood. These are not just personal symbols. They are universal codes, etched into the human psyche like celestial constellations mapped onto the interior of the mind. When you dream of a snake, for instance, you are not just encountering your own fears or fascinations. You are tapping into a symbol that has represented transformation, kundalini, deception, the serpent in Eden, and healing, the rod of Asclepius, for millennia. Your personal reaction to the snake, fear, awe, curiosity, reveals where you stand in your own metamorphosis. The symbol is both mirror and map. It shows you where you are and where you must go. The shadow and the light. Symbols as revelations of the unseen self. Not all dream symbols are comforting. Some are unsettling, even terrifying. The faceless figure, the locked room, the endless chase. These are the emissaries of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we have exiled from conscious awareness. Yet their appearance in dreams is not an attack. It is an invitation to reintegrate what has been split. A common but deeply revealing dream is that of teeth falling out, an image that evokes visceral discomfort. In many traditions, teeth symbolize power, vitality, and the ability to bite into life. When they crumble in a dream, it often signals a perceived loss of control or a fear of aging. But esoterically, it can also represent the dissolution of the ego's rigid structures, making way for a more authentic self to emerge. The shadow does not come to harm you. It comes to heal you by showing you what you have refused to see. The bridge between realms, dreams as portals. In indigenous and mystical traditions worldwide, dreams are not just mental phenomena. They're experiences of the soul journeying outside the body, accessing alternate dimensions, or receiving transmissions from ancestors and spirit guides. This is why certain symbols, gateways, staircases, flying, or meeting deceased loved ones, carry such profound resonance. They are not metaphors. They are experiences of other layers of reality. For example, dreaming of a doorway or threshold often appears at life's major crossroads. It is the soul's way of saying, you are being given passage, but you must choose to step through. Similarly, dreams of flying, unassisted by machines, are frequently reported by those on the verge of a spiritual awakening, a literal reflection of the soul's expanding freedom. The call to awakening, when symbols become catalysts. The most potent dream symbols do not just inform, they transform. They act as psychic triggers, disrupting old patterns and unlocking new levels of awareness. If you have ever had a dream so vivid that it altered your waking perspective, a visitation from a departed loved one, a prophetic vision, or a mystical encounter, you have touched this catalytic power. One of the most reported awakening symbols is the appearance of light in dreams, whether as a radiant sun, a blinding flash, or a guiding orb. Across spiritual traditions, light is the ultimate symbol of consciousness itself. When it appears unbidden in your dreams, it is often a direct transmission from the higher self, a reminder of your innate divinity. The soul does not whisper here, it illuminates. The hidden stories within your dreams. Dreams are not random. They are mythic narratives woven by the soul, each symbol a character, each scenario an act in a grander story of awakening. To truly understand their messages, we must step beyond interpretation and into the realm of living symbolism, where every image is a doorway, every figure a teacher, and every dreamscape a landscape of the psyche's deepest truths. The serpent in a dream, shedding the illusion of fear. Imagine this. You are walking through a dense jungle in your dream, the air thick with the scent of earth and rain. Suddenly, a serpent slithers across your path, its scales glinting like polished obsidian. You freeze, your body tense between flight and fascination. This is no ordinary snake. Its presence hums with an eerie intelligence, as if it has been waiting for you. In the waking world, serpents are often feared, but in the dream realm, they are among the most sacred of symbols. The serpent is the kundalini energy coiled at the base of the spine, the ancient Egyptian uraeus crown of divine authority, the Ouroboros devouring its own tail in eternal renewal. When it appears in your dreams, it is not a threat. It is an invitation to transmute fear into power. The serpent asks, "What are you afraid to shed?" Just as it discards its skin, you too are being called to release old identities, outdated beliefs, the suffocating layers of who you once were. Its appearance is a sign that your soul is ready for a radical molt, a shedding so profound it may feel like death before it reveals itself as rebirth. The endless staircase, ascension or illusion. You find yourself climbing a staircase that never ends, each step leading you higher, yet the top remains obscured. Your legs grow heavy, your breath short, but something compels you to keep going. This is the dream of the infinite ascent, a motif found in mystical traditions across the world, from Jacob's ladder in the Bible to the celestial stairways of Tibetan Buddhism. The staircase is the spiritual path itself, the illusion of linear progress. The soul often uses this symbol to reveal a hard truth. Enlightenment is not a destination, but the act of climbing. The moment you believe you've reached the top is the moment you've lost the way. The staircase dream appears when you're caught in the trap of spiritual materialism, chasing grades of awakening like badges of honor. The message? Stop looking for the peak. The ascent is the awakening. The forgotten room, the psyche's hidden chamber. You are a house you recognize as yours, yet there's a door you've never noticed before. Behind it lies a room, dusty and untouched, filled with strange artifacts. An old mirror, a locked chest, a child's toy left abandoned. The air is thick with the weight of memory. This is the dream of the forgotten room, and it is one of the soul's most direct messages. The house is your psyche. The rooms you frequent are the conscious mind, the identities you uphold, the stories you tell yourself. But the forgotten room? That is the exiled self, the memories you've sealed away, the talents you've neglected, the childhood wounds still whispering beneath the floorboards. The soul does not show you this room to haunt you, but to return what you've lost. That locked chest isn't meant to stay shut. The child's toy is a clue. What did you once love before the world told you to abandon it? The faceless figure, meeting the unseen self. In the dream, you're being watched. You turn, and there stands a figure, humanoid, familiar. Yet where their face should be, there's only void. No eyes, no mouth, just an absence that feels more alive than any flesh. This is the faceless one, a manifestation of the unintegrated self, the parts of you that you've refused to acknowledge. The faceless figure is not an enemy. It is you, the you that exists outside names, outside roles, outside the mask you wear for the world. Its lack of features is not emptiness, but potential. It appears when the soul is demanding radical honesty. Who are you when no one is looking? When the labels fall away, what remains? To run from this figure is to run from your own wholeness. To face it, to reach out, even into that seeming void, is to reclaim the power of the unseen self. The flood, destruction, or baptism. Torrential waters rise around you, swallowing streets, trees, the foundations of your world. You scramble for higher ground, but the tide is relentless. This is the dream of the great flood, and it is far more than a fear of drowning. Water is the primordial symbol of the unconscious, the emotional, the intuitive, the chaotic creative force that precedes form. A flood in a dream is the soul's way of saying, you can no longer outrun the emotional tide. What have you been suppressing? Grief? Rage? A truth too loud to speak? The flood does not come to destroy you, but to cleanse. It washes away the structures that can no longer hold you, forcing you to release control and float. In many traditions, the flood is not just an end. It is the necessary dissolution before rebirth. The mirror, the most dangerous symbol of all. You stand before a mirror, but the reflection is wrong. Maybe it moves without you, or shows you as a child, or refuses to show you at all. This is the dream of the false mirror, and it is the soul's most direct confrontation. You do not see yourself clearly. Mirrors and dreams are never passive. They are sentient, alive with judgment or revelation. A distorted reflection means your self-perception is fractured. You are believing a lie about who you are. A missing reflection? That is the shadow's whisper. You've become invisible even to yourself. But when the mirror finally shows you the truth, unflinching, radiant, whole, that is the moment the dream becomes an awakening. Dreams are not meant to remain in the realm of the unconscious. They are blueprints for action, coded directives from the soul meant to be lived. To dismiss them as mere nighttime curiosities is to ignore one of the most potent tools for transformation available to you. But how do you translate these symbols into tangible change? How do you move from interpretation to embodiment? The morning after, capturing the dream's essence before it fades. The first moments upon waking are sacred. The veil between worlds is still thin, and the dream's resonance lingers like the last notes of a haunting melody. Do not let it slip away. Keep a journal by your bed, not to dissect the dream with clinical precision, but to record its felt sense. Before analyzing the serpent, the flood, or the faceless figure, write down how they made you feel. Fear, awe, a strange comfort? The emotions are the first key to integration. Then, ask yourself one pivotal question. If this dream were a message meant to alter my waking life, what would it be asking me to do? Not what does it mean, but what is it compelling me to confront, release, or embrace? A dream of crumbling teeth might be urging you to speak a long-silenced truth. A staircase with no end could be inviting you to find joy in the journey rather than obsessing over the destination. The symbols are not puzzles to solve. They are catalysts for action. Dialoguing with symbols. When the unconscious speaks back. Symbols are not static. They are alive, and they will respond if you engage them. A powerful practice is to enter a meditative state and speak directly to the figures from your dreams. If you dreamed of a serpent, close your eyes and invite it to appear in your mind's eye. Ask it, why have you come? What do you want me to know? Then listen, not with your thinking mind, but with your body. The answer may come as a word, an image, or a sudden somatic shift, a tightening in the chest, a surge of energy up the spine. This is not mere visualization. It is active dreaming while awake, a way of continuing the conversation your soul started. The serpent might show you a memory of a time you abandoned your power. The faceless figure might reach out, and in that moment, you realize it carries all the parts of yourself you've disowned. This practice bridges the divide between realms, allowing the wisdom of the night to seep into the day. Synchronicity as confirmation, when a waking world mirrors the dream. After a potent dream, pay attention to the waking world's echoes. If you dreamed of a flood and later stumble upon a news article about rising sea levels, or hear a song about water, or meet someone who speaks of emotional release, these are not coincidences. They are synchronicities, the universe's way of underlining the dream's importance. Carl Jung called synchronicity an acausal connecting principle, a meaningful alignment of inner and outer worlds. When you start noticing these echoes, you begin to see that the dream was not an isolated event. It was the first ripple in a larger wave of awakening. The symbols will start appearing everywhere because you've been initiated into their language. Embodying the symbol, rituals for integration. To fully integrate a dream's message, you must physically enact its wisdom. If you dreamed of fire, light a candle and meditate on what needs to be purified in your life. If you encounter a locked room, physically clean out a closet or drawer, a tangible act of making space for what's been hidden. The body must participate in the revelation, or the insight remains theoretical. One woman who dreamed repeatedly of a black dog chasing her began to notice how often she ran from confrontation in waking life. As an experiment, she decided to stop avoiding a difficult conversation with her partner. The next night, the dog in her dream sat calmly at her feet. The symbol had shifted because she had shifted. When dreams warn, heeding the soul's red flags. Not all dreams are gentle guidance. Some are urgent alarms. Dreams of car crashes, falling, being chased by shadowy figures. These are not prophecies of doom, but manifestations of the soul's distress signals. The key is to ask, where in my life am I on a collision course? What am I refusing to face? A man who dreamed of his teeth falling out ignored it until he was diagnosed with chronic stress-related illness. His body had been trying to tell him what his mind refused to acknowledge. He was grinding himself into dust. The dream was not a prediction. It was a plea. The lifelong dialogue, dreaming as a spiritual practice. Ultimately, working with dream symbols is not a one-time exercise, but a lifelong dialogue with the soul. The more you engage, the richer the symbols become, the clearer the messages. Over time, you may find that you no longer need to interpret at all. You simply know, the way you know the taste of water or the warmth of sunlight. This is the goal, not to master the symbols, but to let them master you, to allow them to unravel, rewire, and remake you until the line between dreamer and dream dissolves entirely. We have wandered through the liminal landscapes where symbols breathe, where serpents whisper secrets, staircases ascend into infinity, and mirrors reflect not just faces, but the very architecture of the soul. Now we arrive at the threshold between understanding and being. For this is the final truth about dreams. They're not merely messages to decode, but portals to step through. The question that remains is not what do they mean, but who will you become now that you know? The alchemy of remembering. Every time you recall a dream with reverence, you perform an act of sacred alchemy. You take the unseen and make it visible. You pull the mystic into the mundane. This is why ancient traditions place such importance on dream incubation, on temples built for holy sleep, on rituals to honor the night's visions. They understood what we have forgotten, that dreams are not secondary to waking life, but its foundation. The symbols that visit you at night are the invisible hands sculpting your days. Consider this. Your most powerful dreams may not even be your own. In many shamanic traditions, certain dreams are understood to be given, sent by ancestors, spirit guides, or the collective unconscious itself. When you dream of a radiant figure handing you an object, or a voice speaking a phrase that lingers upon waking, you may be receiving something that does not belong to you alone, but to the greater tapestry of awakening consciousness. Your willingness to carry these gifts into the light of day makes you a bridge between worlds. The call to live the symbol. True integration does not end with journaling or interpretation. It demands that you live the symbol until it reshapes your reality. If you dreamed of wings, where in your life must you rise? If you dreamed of a key, what door have you been afraid to unlock? The symbols will keep returning in increasingly urgent iterations until you heed their call. There is a secret contained in all authentic spiritual traditions. Enlightenment is not the absence of dreams, but the realization that you are the dream and the dreamer both. The Tibetan Buddhist practice of dream yoga teaches practitioners to recognize the dream state while still within it, to realize, I am dreaming, and thus gain mastery over the illusion. But the ultimate goal is even more radical, to extend that realization into waking life, to understand that the so-called real world operates by the same symbolic logic. When you fully grasp this, the boundary between night visions and daylit existence dissolves. Synchronicities multiply. The universe speaks in a continuous symbolic tone. You awaken not from the dream, but to it. The invitation. This is your summons. Stop dismissing the extraordinary that visits you in sleep. Your dreams are as real as your heartbeat. Become fluent in the soul's language. When a symbol recurs, ask not just why, but what is it compelling me to do? Let the symbols rewrite your life. If the flood comes, surrender to the currents. If the serpent appears, shed what no longer fits. If the mirror lies, smash it and find a reflection that waits behind. The symbols will keep coming with greater clarity and insistence the more you attend to them. They are not random. They're the navigation system of your awakening. And if you have encountered these words, if these particular symbols have resonated with some buried knowing in your bones, then recognize this too as part of the pattern. Some messages are delivered through dreams. Others come through the seemingly chance encounter with a text, a teacher, a moment that strikes like lightning.